I wanted to reinvent all of that. Reinvent fashion, gay fashion, music, gay music, you know, and just not be so pigeonholed, whether it's from the Latin community or even from the cliques that I found were starting to emerge within the gay community, you know? For a really long time, we were really just kind of looking for acceptance in the media. So we latched on to whatever the media gave us. So whatever roles we were given, whatever TV shows had a gay character, we kind of just were thirsty for it. So we said, you know what, I'm gonna identify with that. But then, as time went on, I felt like everything needed a makeover. You know, we're not just like the gay sidekick on a TV show, and we're not just, you know, queer eye for the straight guy and this and that. So I set out to do what I love and kind of reinvent all of that through music, fashion, lyrics. I've always loved psychology and dance. And 3 albums later, 18 music videos, 2 world tours. Here we are. I want to talk about my first 2 albums, which were called Fag Out Volume 1 and Volume 2. The word fag for me has always had this like negative connotation. But what I wanted to do was kind of own that word back, take that word back, and not have it, you know, mean so much. Because if we let it affect us, then it'll affect us. But if we kind of embrace it and take it back, we take the power back, so then nobody else really has it as ammo towards us, right? My 2 friends, Monty and Terry from San Francisco, I met them on my first tour out there, and I fell in love with them because they were rebelling against what drag was, you know? The beard, they don't shave, you know, they wear light makeup, you know, and when I first saw them, I was just like, wow, this is like amazing, because, you know, I'd seen different, you know, performance drag, but drag at that time, 2010, 2011, yeah, was still very pageant-like, you know, and it was traditional. And this was even before Drag Race. I think Drag Race was in their 3rd season, 2nd, 3rd season maybe? 2nd season. But they were still, you know, bearded drag wasn't even being showcased on the show. And I felt that it was really important that they were seen, you know? And the song Honey Boo Boo is about a little girl who her mother takes her to, you know, she's in these pageants and she has to win at all costs, you know? And the girl's kind of like not really in it, and she's just, you know, she's young and she's just kind of like, where do I stand, Mom? Okay, fine. So there's humor, and there's something kind of like ironic about that. It's like, what is this whole pageant thing about? And what is the goal with drag? You know, is it to win a trophy, or is it to say something? And I wanted to say something, and they clearly, visually, were just, you know, I felt like they also started a movement, and it started a new dialogue about drag and club kids, and bringing that to the forefront and bringing it to a wider audience. Silhouettes. I also, the most important message here is that it's not really about the fashion, you know? It's about the energy and the confidence underneath the fashion, and the fashion is just secondary, you know? But working in the industry as a designer, I always felt like we were always manufacturing these garments to give people confidence, to fit to a specific demographic. But I don't know, I always felt like it should be the other way around. The clothes should always be secondary. And especially, you know, within the gay community, you know, not focusing so much on being superficial, but everything starting from within. You know, stereotypical, you know, roles that we've been given. Who has given them, you know? I wanted to go back home and come out again in a new way and create that dialogue, you know? who knows? Maybe next I'll take on country music and give that makeover. I don't know. But I think the really important question with my work and all of these videos and these songs in a lighthearted way is I want to create a dialogue. What is Banji? What is being Latino? What is being Mexican? What is femininity? What is masculinity? I think those are important questions, and I think that dialogue should continue. Thank you.
So with regard to genre, I'm really interested in the way AB is using dance music and the dance music video. Genres that are so often dismissed as being superficial, commercial, commodified, fake, trivial, frivolous, and saturated with illusory escapist happiness. And all of these adjectives have also long been used to dismiss queer culture in general. And of course, queer artists have long resisted the negative connotations associated with them, hence the reason for this speaker series. So AB is working within and paying homage to a long tradition of queer cultural production. But what's really refreshing in his work to me is the way that he is working on, within, and against all of these pejorative labels at the same time. So he talks a lot, he talked today, about using dance and dance music not for escapism, right? But to work through negative emotions, particularly sadness, not fitting in, not finding a place in the world. And the music is not about escaping these things. And it's not about curing this sadness, right? It's about living with and within really difficult feelings.
So one of the things I wanted to say, first of all, is thank you for sort of giving us that trajectory of your path, your career, your vision, your work, your life as a performer, as an artist, and so forth. And I want, and when you were talking, it made me think a lot about some of the queer artists that I write about too. And when they tell their story, they tell a very similar trajectory, right? So they were, studying in acting at the school. They were studying to be actors or actresses and so forth. And that was not enough. They wanted something else. Why is that? It's sort of, why is it part of sort of a queer kind of search that we are bored with, kind of the ways in which we are being asked to be pigeonholed? And I think the importance of not sort of saying, okay, it's okay for you to just pigeonhole me, and deciding to be an independent artist, I think takes a lot of courage, right? So I've seen that in a lot of the artists that I write about, particularly in Mexico, but also here in the US, how it takes a lot of courage to be an independent artist, to produce all your shit. I mean, that's a lot of work.
And then I write in Hollywood, even though it's just 20 minutes away from East LA, on my own. My dad passed away when I was 16. I don't have a father figure. My mom's over here dealing with her stuff, and my brother's over there, and now Hollywood doesn't really get me, and then I'm just like, it sucks, It feels I feel very alone. And if I could share the pain that I'm going through and inspire other people through what I'm going through, I don't know, I guess I won't feel so alone. I guess I'll feel like I helped other people, and in some way, I just felt a little happier. And so, realness recognizes realness. So I always recognize other people that were on the same path, that had that same vision, that woke up to their life's purpose, that were living in their truth, that were authentic, that didn't care. They were crunchy. They didn't give a fuck, And I was just like, okay, I need to be around these people. And so that conversation just happens, and then it's like they introduce themselves, and it's like, oh, I like your fashion. Oh, I'm a director. I love what you do. Let's put you on film. Let's make something happen. I'm a dancer, and I love what you're about. I don't want to dance for these artists that don't really care about gay people. I want to dance for you, and I'll do it for free, and I'll quit my job. So it was just it just felt very, San Francisco in the 70s. With the Caucasians and everyone just kind of migrating to these cities and just kind of, all caution to the wind, sleeping in an apartment with 10 people and not making any money, but just being gay, living out loud, following their bliss, and then everything else was just kind of secondary. So I try to surround myself with those people, and when doing so, we get to create these bodies of work where, you know, the director of Cha Cha Bitch, like, you know, he's amazing, and he moved to New York in the 70s when he was, you know, trying to figure out who he was, and, you know, and then here I come, and I'm younger, and I'm inspired from what he was going through back then, and, you know, it's all full circle, it's all gay history, it just keeps reinventing itself and rewriting itself, and even if I'm feeling really sad, I express that through a song, through an uplifting song. I don't really do ballads, only because for me, I just like to turn every negative into a positive and just have it be uplifting. But Keep It Moving is like a heartbreak song, and you actually nailed it, really spot on. But that's like one of the most fastest songs, and it's like booty bass, and it's all choreography, and when I perform that on stage, it's like so draining and taxing because it's like physically demanding, and then it also kind of reminds me of that sadness, but I embrace it and turn it into a positive. So.